digital realm where dreams take flight. There's a coin that shines in a brilliant light. ERGO's the name, it's a crypto star, built for the future, taking us.
Hi guys again. I'm happy that you accept my invitation for this interview. I know that you are a very that you are valuable persons in ERGO ecosystem. So I will have lots of questions for you, and I hope that we will have some fun. First of all, I really want to know about yourself and your way to ERGO, why ERGO, and how you come to blockchain, and what brought you into programming. How did you come here? Not all of us are programmers, and how it happens.
You can go first, don't you, Guy?
Yeah, sure. So I was in high school, probably around my junior year, so which is 11th grade, and so that's a year before the final year. And before that, I was really interested in hardware, so circuits and all, and building physical projects. And I really had to think about what to do for my future, because I was starting college in about a little over a year. So I decided that I wanted to try programming because my dad is a software engineer. So I seen him do that a lot growing up, and also I like I like the idea of computer science because you have a lot of opportunities to work remotely. So you don't need to go to a workplace. That means that you won't be really bound to a single location, right? So if I chose computer hardware, for example, right, and as in like actual hardware, not like the software component of that, then I would have to be near maybe like a factory or some office so I can actually work on the parts and all. And this is not really the case for programming. It's very easy to work remotely and communicate with people. Especially now in the last few years where wireless technology has improved so much. And another thing about hardware that I didn't like was if I would often break components, because as I was learning, I would sometimes maybe solder something, then just like solder too much and burn the microprocessor or something. And you can't just go to like a hardware store, and get a new microprocessor. I had to order one from China and wait like 2 or 3 weeks for it to come to my house. That was just ridiculous. And now with programming, you can just break whatever you want. You just break anything and just restart the computer. Like that's the worst that could happen. And I really like the idea of that. So that really put me into programming. I just started off. I started with Python. I learned the basics with that, and it was just out of really all my own interests. And to start, I picked up with ERGO. Honestly, like with programming, I did ERGO in Python, and like I wrote like a wrapper or something because you could only do ERGO in Java, and I knew little Java at that time, so I wanted to do it in Python. So I just wrote like a simple wrapper to interact with ERGO using Python, and yeah, that's how I started out.
Very cool. I also like to break every program which I have. That's the beginning. Just
Yes.
break and then to repair. That's crazy, really. But you have very interesting way. It's like a family hobby, family business.
Yes,
for
yes,
programming. That's cool.
exactly.
And are you studying now?
Yes. I'm in my second year of college right now. I have about a little over a year left, and I'm studying computer science, of course.
Cool. I'm impressed. You're so young and so talented.
Thank you.
That's something strange for me because I'm like a seated person.
I get it.
Yeah. Luuka, and what about you?
So for me, when I started university, I was interested in physics. So I started off in mechanical engineering, but I didn't really like it, so I switched to physics. And I was actually interested in doing. I liked physics and biology, so I was gonna do biophysics. But
Wow.
that didn't work out for various reasons. But eventually I decided to do physics and computer science, and it was like a joint major at my school that they offered, and I really liked the curriculum. So I decided to study that. And then I didn't really know what to do. Like, I still don't really know what to do, but like what interested me at the time. And just by chance, my final project, like every undergrad has to do a project at the end, and it was related to cryptography. At the time, I didn't know like about blockchains, or like zero knowledge stuff like that. But the project, I kind of got exposed to it a little bit, and yeah. After that, I didn't really think about it that much, but then I stumbled upon the Charles Hoskinson videos, and that's what got me into like the cryptocurrency industry, because I kind of wanted to do something that would like help people, I guess. So that seemed like it had a lot of potential to do that, and that's how, yeah. So that's my story of how I got into cryptocurrency. In terms of programming, like computer science is more of like it's kind of like a subset of math, like a branch of math. So I would say like during university I wasn't programming that much. It was mostly more the theoretical components of computer science that I personally like more than programming. But when I got into cryptocurrency and ERGO, I kind of forced myself to learn Scala. I knew a bit of Java before, but I really like Scala. It was fun to learn. Yeah, and now I'm like trying to learn Rust, just because I also enjoy, like it's used a lot in the cryptocurrency industry, but I also like learning like a kind of like a lower level systems programming language for like, so you can program hardware as well.
Wow.
But yeah, that's
And I'm again impressed, guys. You're very talented, both of you. Biology and physics and cryptography. So can I tell that Charles Hoskinson affected on your way to blockchain somehow?
yeah.
So
It was the Lex Friedman interview with Charles Hoskinson. It was like 4 hours, I think.
yes, I think so.
And then he mentioned ERGO in the interview, so I was like, "Oh, what's that?"
Oh,
And then there's also his
okay.
whiteboard video too. Was also cool.
So he influenced on you, like, Luuka, you should come to us, like that.
Well, it was more like he made the potential of what cryptocurrency could do, like to help regular people in like poorer countries where money is not like very stable. So like I found that idea very like compelling.
Yeah. Okay, but why ERGO? Both of you, why ERGO? If you know the interviews of Charles and you like the idea and potential of all of that, you could choose, for example, Cardano. But why is ERGO?
So, well, for me, I tried to get into Cardano at the beginning. It was like a few years ago. It was much more difficult than now. And I kind of liked proof of work as an idea. Like my physics background, I like the idea of like energy being converted into money. Like that's just a cool idea.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, and getting into ERGO, like the Discord was like the community was really great, and like you could just ask questions and people would help you. It was like very friendly. And I also like like because of my background, I wanted something that was research focused. So that's why I was only really into Cardano and ERGO, because they had a solid like research, like a background and like foundations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of researchers around ERGO and Cardano, so I can understand it. Shishir, what about you? Why ERGO? Why not Cardano or something like Polkadot? or
Yeah.
even Ethereum or even Bitcoin?
Yeah, no, actually, I did start. I started out probably, of course, I guess most people started on Bitcoin, right? So I started by learning about Bitcoin. Of course, it was very easy to hear about. And then after, you can't really do much with Bitcoin, especially a few years ago. Now it's a bit different. But a few years ago, you couldn't. There was really nothing that you can do on Bitcoin. But I think I started out by running my own Bitcoin node and all, so that was fun. But then I wanted to do more, so I learned about Ethereum, and that was fun. But of course, Ethereum, it was a bit expensive, right, to do much really anything on. But it was still fun. I really started crypto out as a miner, because I wanted to game. I wanted to build my own computer and do some gaming and all with the GPU. But it was all expensive, so I convinced my dad to buy a GPU for me. Then I said that I would pay him back from mining on the GPU, so I could actually, like, earn the GPU or whatever. But then I found that really interesting. I was like, how the hell can I make money from, like, doing nothing, right? Just running a program. It was crazy too, because it was a really uh very cheap graphics card. Like, it was a 1060 GTX 1060. I got it for like $120, so it's very lacking in power. So, but even with that much, back then on Ethereum, you could make almost like 90 cents to $1 a day, right? And getting an ROI of, like, I don't know, like 120 days, like 3 months. That's pretty impressive. Like, doing nothing, right? Just literally just leaving it on, doing nothing. It's just taking like maybe pennies in electricity. So that was pretty cool. So I was like, I was just curious. So then I looked into it. Then I learned about Bitcoin, then Ethereum, and yeah, and I started off there. And then the thing with, as I mentioned, I wanted to see more. Then I learned about Cardano, actually, right after Ethereum. And I was, like Luuka said, I was also curious into Cardano, and I found it very appealing because of the research based focus. Like, this is a really important thing of crypto, to actually do it right instead of just doing whatever you feel like doing. It's peer reviewed papers. That's really significant. So I wanted to hop into Cardano development. So this was probably a couple of months before, I don't know, I think Sunday Swap released or something like that. So I think 2020, 2021-ish, that's really when this time was. And the problem was that, as Luuka mentioned already, it was very hard to get into development, right? It was all Haskell and all. And at that point, I really only knew like basic Python, so I couldn't do much. But then I heard about ERGO, not only from Cardano but also from, like, mining videos and all. So I got really curious about ERGO. Then I found that it really needed development, because at that point in my life, I was just trying to learn programming and also, like, build a portfolio, so it would, like, benefit me in, like, learning and school and jobs, to actually have some projects in my toolkit. So I decided that if I really wanted to build and did it on Ethereum or even Cardano, the biggest problem would be that it wouldn't get recognition, right? Like, there's thousands of projects. Why would anyone care about my simple project? That was really the mindset. So I saw ERGO. ERGO was like a pretty small community. I was like, really, anything I build on this would get recognition, right? Because there's so few things. Like, at that point, the only real thing on it was a really basic NFT marketplace, and the Spectrum was literally just started out. So it was very new. There was like maybe 2 dApps on it. Like, that's all. So I decided to pick it up and go from there. So really, I only started for my own benefit, right? Well, I guess for everyone's benefit, so I could have a project and also, like, get recognition from the community.
Mhm. Did you want some recognition? Like,
Yeah, I wanted
I,
no recognition as in people using my project, right?
of
Like, not
course.
fame, like people just using it. Because on Ethereum, like, what, myself and maybe my friend uses it, or whatever, whoever I tell uses it. But on ERGO, people would, like, legitimately use it because it has a function.
Yeah. And do you have Node right now? ERGO
ERGO
Node?
nodes? Yes, I have plenty of ERGO nodes. Luuka and I also run plenty of infrastructure together. Uh, and yeah, we also mine.
Luuka, do you also have an ERGO Node?
Yeah, I have a Like I have a Raspberry Pi running the. Right now, it's not running because I'm trying to fix a problem. But before, I was running it on the Raspberry Pi, just on my desk here. It's pretty
Oh,
cool.
cool. I heard a gossip that MGPi has a node at the washing machine, something like that. Is it true?
A node in a washing machine?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow, that's
Or
an interesting.
it works from the washing machine or something like that.
No, that's not true.
Oh,
That's a
okay.
That's a fun little theory though.
Okay, it's a gossip. That's cool
Yes.
because I really want to ask you how you settled it because I can, connect my washing machine to Node and then to.
Yeah, I think someone had a similar idea actually, but it was rather than the washing machine, it was like a smart device, like
Mhm.
TV maybe, or like a smart fridge. I mean, I guess even a
Right.
washing machine, it's all similar. It's like a Samsung based. You know, how Samsung has like smart appliances. Someone was planning to run, so it wasn't me, someone else in the community, like a JavaScript based ERGO node.
Mhm.
So that would be pretty cool, honestly, like running something, because I personally think that's one of the coolest things about ERGO is that how it's like so accessible to anyone, right? Like they take Solana for example, right? Like it's ridiculous, like 512 gigabytes, or yeah, 512 gigabytes of RAM, of minimum RAM to have like a shitty node. That's ridiculous. I
And after
can't.
that, my friends asked me, "Oh, Anastasia, can I buy Solana?" I told them, "No, guys, please, no Solana. That the fucking but that's so good marketing. Okay, guys, but it's not
Yeah.
about technology. Please stop doing this."
I know it's really sad, but yeah, but that's the cool part about Ergo, right? Like you can even, the idea is you can even have a really good functioning node on your cell phone device itself, and yeah, I think that's really the ethos of cryptocurrency, right? Like being able to run your own technology rather than relying on
Yeah,
someone else. And the idea is to make it as easy as possible, and it's pretty damn easy if you just have to click a button on your phone and just forget about it, right?
yeah. Okay. And what was your first coin? What coin did you buy first?
Luca, you can go.
I think the first thing I bought was it was either Bitcoin or Ethereum. I think it was Bitcoin. To test, like I was just curious about it. It was a long time ago on a Coinbase. I did it on Coinbase.
Oh.
I think I had bought like $100, like $50 of Bitcoin and $50 of Ethereum, and then like I think it crashed like after 2017,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just like sold it. I was like, whatever, I don't know what I'm doing, so I just stopped.
Okay, your first bearish market. Like, okay, but then, hey, where are you, my Bitcoin?
Yeah,
Okay.
so for me, it was the same Bitcoin. I think for most people, it's just Bitcoin, right? That's all you hear about, and it's the biggest one. So yeah, definitely
Yeah.
Bitcoin. But it
Yeah.
was my dad who got it for me. I couldn't. You have to be 18 or older to get Bitcoin on like marketplace. So I didn't have any identity stuff back then. So I had to
Oh.
convince my dad. I think he got me like $25 worth of Bitcoin or something. And my first transaction, I was just like trying to understand it. I was very sad. I think my first transaction, I like lost like $10 on transaction fees or something like that.
Oh,
And I was very sad because that was a lot of money to me. And I was like, that's like half my Bitcoin. I was like, what the hell?
that's a sad story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I heard lots of stories like that. Like people lost their Bitcoin part of Bitcoin because they send it not to Bitcoin address but to Ethereum address and thought
Oh
that
my
oh
God.
it works. No guys, it does.
Oh my
It
God.
didn't. Maybe next time you will ask me about these networks or something like that.
It's crazy.
But I think Bitcoin is the first coin for lots of people, even
But
for me.
yes.
I also started from Bitcoin. Okay. Um, I have a tricky question for you about what do you think? Can Ergo crashed as Luna, for example?
As
Or
Luna.
as Luna, or for example, as Ethereum in future. Like my prediction, should it crash? Maybe yes, maybe not. But could Ergo crashed?
So right now I personally think that we have crashed. This is the crash. So I really can't imagine it going below, really below maybe $1 or whatever, going too far below it, because the thing is that the base cost of Ergo itself is like how much money it costs to actually mine Ergo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Ergo is kind of always pegged to the cost of electricity, right? So if electricity goes up, then the price of Ergo also goes up, right? Like we're basically all the way down at that level. I mean, it's the same with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes to, it's not possible for Bitcoin to go to zero because you still have the cost of electricity. Like, why would miners sell it for a loss, right? They would at least try to get electricity money back. So this is the low, right? It takes a good amount of electricity to mine Ergo. So that's the cool part. But I don't think it's possible because Ergo really, it has a genuine use case. It has a genuine tooling and infrastructure and an ecosystem behind it. And Luna was something crazy because that was a fraudulent coin, right? The founder
Mm-hmm.
itself like scammed everyone in the ecosystem, like, and that's literally why it crashed. But Ergo is of course no fraud, and it has a genuine community behind it. Like a lot of coins, they're also fake. They have no market. They have market making, right? So people buy, or they have external funding. Like that's just temporary, or they have like Twitter bots. It's like all fake. But every single thing on Ergo is real. Like there's real people behind it, right? And so I think this is really the base, and we're just starting out. And now during the bull market, I think Ergo has really big potential because Ergo is really just a continuation of Bitcoin, right? It's Bitcoin with
Yeah.
smart contracts, right? Like let's face it, Bitcoin's never getting any smart contracts or anything. There's such a big divide in that community. So Bitcoin's really going to stay similar. And even if it gets any contracts, that's just going to be a fork. So Ergo genuinely has everything. So in my guess, I think Ergo to top 10.
Yes. Top 10. How to the we will be to the moon, guys.
Yes.
To the moon. I saw that the price of Ergo was about $30. What your predictions?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I think a lot higher than that. I mean, I think this cycle we can easily go about above like, I don't know, like $70, $80, maybe even $100 per coin. It's very easy because our all-time high was like $18 to $20, something like that. And as I mentioned back then, we literally just had Spectrum and a simple NFT marketplace. Like that's all we
mhm.
had, nothing else. So if back then we went up that high, now with so much, we have like hundreds of apps now. Like it's going to go so much higher, and there's so many new ideas in place. Even Rosen too. Rosen's a big one. So yeah, no, we're not. We're going to go to the moon.
Okay, Luuka. The same questions for you.
Uh,
Why not crashing?
yeah, I'm not very good at like financial like trading or predicting prices. I personally don't really care about the price. I just like the like foundations of Ergo, the philosophy. Like I forgot to mention, but another reason that I got into Ergo was the Ergo manifesto. That was
Mhm.
inspiring. So like I just I'm just gonna make stuff whether the price goes up or down, so it doesn't like I'm not affected by it.
Like frankly, to us, it doesn't even matter because we're here for the technology. Like
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
get Ergo to use Ergo. That's really it. Like it doesn't really matter the price action for us. Will always be here.
Yeah. But it's interesting.
Oh yeah.
Everyone is, we have different, lots of people, and they have different aims. For example, Luca is like a philosopher. He likes the idea and
Yes.
technology and all of these concepts. Uh, you are more like, okay, just be a little bit to the moon guy and to technology guy, and
Yes.
that's cool. And I'm interested in how did you meet each other? How can you work together? Because you are so different even right now. I see it because different energy, different type of, different style of speaking and so on and so on. How can you work together?
Yeah, sure. Honestly, I think it's more fun to work with someone more different than you, right? Because why would you want like a clone of yourself, right? That's no fun, right? I don't think that's really. It's more productive because I guess we keep each other in line, right? Like we both have extreme
Yeah.
ideas, then they normalize when we talk about it. So I think that's like really powerful, rather than having someone just like you that just perpetuate like whatever you're thinking. Like if you have someone the same as you, it's really an echo chamber, right? So just whatever you think, like times 100, like because everyone like yes, 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 yes. Like yeah, that's no fun. There's no advantage of that. But I think it's more advantageous to have someone who are more so different, right? I mean, we're still same. We have the same core beliefs, but of course, how we approach them, we have like different paths. But it's fun to work with each other and find out common grounds.
Luca, do you think the same?
That's an interesting answer. I like that answer. Well, I met MG Pi through Deco, which was it's not running anymore, but it was like a program that you could sign up, and there were two people in their ERGO ecosystem that would give like lessons on ERGO script like once every week. And I had done the first like cohort of that. And then the second time I was like I helped out like a tutor kind of, and MG Pi was in that class, and I was interested in like doing like a NFT mint, like a NFT sales like contract using like AVL trees, so it would be like decentralized. And then someone told me that I should ask MG Pi, since he was doing like NFT minting for his NFT project at the time, Ergo Sapiens. So that's how we teamed up. Yeah, it's cool. Like, yeah, it's true. We are kind of different, I guess, but we're still like motivated, I guess, by the same like beliefs behind like Ergo and like the philosophy behind it. But yeah, he's right. It's good to work with different people because you'll have different perspectives, and that's what I like about like my journey into Ergo, I guess, or the cryptocurrency industry. Or what's so interesting about Ergo is I have like friends in like all over the world, and yeah, I never expected that when I first started, like when I first got into it. So that's like one of the nice things about this.
Yeah, friends all over the world. It's very cool.
Yeah,
You
like
can
I have
call
friends.
to everyone, like,
Yeah,
hey
like I've
guys,
never
I'm
met.
going somewhere, and you find the person.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of crazy. Like I'm friends with people that I never met in person.
Yeah, Luuka and I only recently met in person, like a couple months back only. We saw each other in we saw each other in Las Vegas, of all
Las Vegas.
places.
Good place to meet, Las Vegas. Like, okay, are you eligible to play this casino?
I'm not.
No.
I'm old
I'm
enough.
not. I have to wait still another year.
Okay, you should repeat your
Yes.
meeting somewhere.
Yes.
Okay, are you happy to be in Ergo ecosystem? Do you have enough support? I understand that right now you have lots of friends all over the world, but how emotionally? It's cool. It's hard.
I mean, I find it actually difficult because not many people know about it, right? Like if you say you're doing smart contracts, you're like, oh, you're doing Solidity stuff. That's kind of a problem, yeah, right?
No.
So it's very hard because first of all, crypto itself is a niche, right? Like you can't even talk much with like normal people, like my neighbors or my friends, like my actual like in-person friends. So that's a big problem. Then even if they do understand it, it's like Ethereum and Bitcoin, right? Not even Cardano, Ethereum and Bitcoin. So then if you say smart contract, the 1% that understand you're like, oh, Ethereum, right? then on top of that, the 1% who know about other coins other than Ethereum and Bitcoin still don't know about ERGO. Right? So
Yeah.
it's like a niche of a niche of a niche. That's the problem. So yeah, it is quite isolating working here. But we make the best of it by finding others in the ecosystem. I know, trying to at least onboard people by explaining to them why ERGO is so cool and why they should look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say for me, like I like most of my friends, I would say, like, well, most of my friends now are in ERGO. Like, they're just ERGO people. I don't have any. I don't have most of my friends, like, in real life that I had before going into ERGO, they're like in different stages of life, I guess, or different places. So I don't really interact with them much. They don't know anything about cryptocurrency, and like the ones that do know, like, they just aware of like the top coins, right? Because that's like all they hear about. I would say like one of the frustrating things is I listen to like crypto like media, like podcast, like mainstream podcasts, just so I can learn about things outside of like ERGO, I guess. There's more mainstream things. And yeah, all they talk about is like Bitcoin or Ethereum. They never talk about, and like the EVM clones, they never talk about like other stuff. Like it's so out of like the mind share of people. Yeah, and even when you're talking to someone who's into crypto and you mention like Cardano, they'll like look at you funny, or like you did mention like UTXO, they're like, what are you talking about? So yeah, in that sense,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
strange, but
Sorry for interrupt you.
that's okay.
Yeah, UTXO model, it's like your islands, like.
Yes, yes. It's they treat us like aliens.
But what's
Mm-hmm.
cool is like because ERGO is so, because the UTXO is very like novel and you can do a lot of cool things with it. We're lucky we get to be like, we get to like try all these like new stuff and get to implement them. And we don't have like to deal with the same problems that we would have to face if we were on like EVM or account model.
Yeah.
Something I find really cool about UTXO. I think that's the real way to do it, because account model is exactly like bank account, exactly
Yeah.
how banks work, and that's just like plus minus, like that's really all it is, right? It's not as secure. UTXO, what I found real, like when I really understood UTXO, it's exactly like how cash works, how real cash works, right? Because if I want to pay you like $10 and I have a $20 bill, then I give you $20 and you give me $10, right? That's change, right? So you have $10 and now I have $10, right? That's exactly how real cash works. That's how real life works. And that's exactly how it is. And UTXO model is the exact same thing. So that gives you inherent security, because that everything has to be a change, right? Everything starts as whole, then becomes change, and just consolidates, becomes change, consolidates, becomes change. It's very secure. But account model, that's just it's not as secure. It doesn't have inherent security. Of course, there's other ways to achieve security, and I'm not saying that it's like any worse, but UTX is just super cool. Like, it's just how exactly something should work on a blockchain.
Yeah, I like your explanation of UTX model, because I think 2 or 3 months ago, I dive
Yes,
deep
yes,
into it, and only at that moment I understand what it is, what the difference
exactly.
because of these two model. And right now I try to explain my friends who are more or less close to crypto, like for example, my colleagues are from Stellar, and
Oh wow.
and I'm trying to explain them these difference, and they're like, whoa, what the difference? Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
guys.
And you should tell them too that it's on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is all UTXO.
Yeah, but I like your explanation. Like, UTXO, it's like in the real world.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
it should work.
It's very smart. I wouldn't even be able to think of that. I would just do account model. Like yeah, just like bank account. Whatever. But that's really a genius thing they thought of UTXO. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I
Luuka.
also like I made a crash course video on like ERGO script kind of like 2 years ago when I was working at ERGOPad as an intern, and they said one of the cool things, there's a lot of like, these are like not intentional, but there's somewhat parallels with physics, where in like UTXO or on ERGO anyway, like the value of ERG, like that's input, has to be equal to the value of ERG that's output in the output, and it's like kind of like similar to like how energy like can be created or destroyed. I thought that was really cool, and also the concept of like locality in the sense that within a smart contract on Ergo, you only have access to the local state of the transaction. You can have access to like another transaction or a global state, and yeah, there's like somewhat similar analogies in physics, and I thought that was really cool.
Cool. I understand that when three programmers are on the call, it's like, okay, let's discuss the technical.
Yes.
I think some guys from my channel, they will be like, okay, I don't know
they're
what they're
sleeping.
talking about, but they are so enthusiastic about
Yes.
it. Okay. We met each other because of the projects and mostly like developers. So in this case, I know that you have 2 projects. I know about 2, but maybe you have your secret room with secret projects. I'm not sure about that.
Oh, we have plenty.
I think so that you have this your secret room. Maybe with Basilisk. Basilisk? I think so. One of these snake from Harry
Luuka,
Potter.
you can go ahead. Tell her.
About Phoenix. Let's start
Of
with Phoenix or Lilium. What do you want? Choose one.
Okay, I guess we could do Lilium because that's how we started off meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
So when I met him, asked him if he wanted to work on like a decentralized NFT like sales contract or protocol. Yeah, we decided to like make it into a project, and then that's what became Lilium. So the MVP was just a way to mint NFTs on demand using, and it would be like decentralized because we can use the AVL tree data structure that would let us store like the metadata, and it would be possible for like the artists to run the sale themselves, which we thought was really cool. So it wasn't reliant on like the Lilium infrastructure. And we wanted to do something that could do, like, traditionally people would mint their tokens ahead of time. So if they had a lot of tokens that they wanted to sell, they'd have to wait until like all of those tokens were minted and then deal with like selling each one to someone individually. But because of like the way NFTs work on Ergo and the AVL tree data structure, we were able to do it so the NFT will get minted when the buyer decides to purchase the NFT. So we don't have to do any pre-minting, and that's just like more efficient for what we wanted to do. Yeah, we're also thinking of like version 2 now, extending Lilium, so it could be like a better marketplace, and yeah, just a great place for like artists or anyone with like selling digital content, I guess.
Do you mean digital content, music, or just NFTs? NFTs of pictures, NFTs of films?
So
what do you
yeah,
mean about digital products?
So the way we designed the sales protocol is kind of inadvertently, you can kind of use it to sell anything, any digital content, because like right now for images, it's just referencing an image on IPFS, but there's no reason that the file it references could be any other type of like digital content file. So I know so we're thinking of like doing ticketing eventually. That'd be really cool. But yeah, it could be like music, I guess. Yeah, any digital file, I guess, technically.
So ticketing is your future plan, or just to expand to normal
Yeah.
marketplace, like to sell t-shirt. Okay, t-shirts is not digital assets.
Well,
What I am thinking
so-
about?
Well, for V2, we want to be able to like also sell physical items. So let's say you're like the Blitz TCG game, or maybe Cyberverse. You
Mhm.
could make an account on Lilium, and then you could have like you could sell like your NFTs there for the game, or but then you could also sell like merch. Let's say they wanted to sell like mugs or t-shirts, then they could also sell them there, and it'd be like one place for that. But yeah, I know there's Terahertz as a project, which is doing really great for music. So that's why we're more into like ticketing and event ticketing. Yeah, I think that could be really cool as well.
It looks like Amazon, but in Web3. Because we
Yeah,
can
well-
buy everything in Amazon. I mean, books,
Yeah.
tickets, even flight tickets, I think. And so it's a plan. Is it a plan?
Well, we're really focused. We really want it to be like a place for like a cool place for like artists and like creative people. So we're not trying to be like eBay. That's a bit different.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it sounds cool. And why Lilium? I never asked before, but how name comes?
Okay. So when I was thinking about like a project to do, I'm from Quebec, so in
Mhm.
Canada, in Montreal. So I wanted something that would like, I know Quebec has there's cool artists from Quebec. There's a famous director called Denis Villeneuve who did like the new Dune movies, Arrival as well. He's really cool. And so on the Quebec flag, there's like 4 flowers on it. In French, it's called fleur de lis. And I thought so I looked it up, and it's a lily flower, and the scientific name is like Lilium, and I thought that sounded really cool. So I said, okay, let's make that. And the way the NFT protocol works, the way it like mints NFTs on demand, you can think of it as like a flower like blooming, like sending out seeds. So I thought like that was all of that together, like
Oh,
kind of made the name make sense.
it makes sense. But I like the story. Really? So, and what's your goal for, I don't know, for next year for Lilium?
So I'd say, yeah, definitely. Like our version 2, launching that is our main goal. So it'll be migrating our backend to the framework that we're going to be using to enable the marketplace features that we want, and then adding more like specific features related to like marketplaces
Mm-hmm.
for NFTs, and then event ticketing will be like the big one after that, because it's like it's a more complicated feature to implement.
Mm-hmm. I see. As I know, you don't have token. Am I right? Do
No.
you plan to launch a token?
If it made sense, but we haven't figured out a way for it to make sense yet.
Oh, okay. That's very practical.
It would be called the Lily token. So
Okay, and the second project, I understand about Lilium. I know a lot. I think about Lilium as well, but from technical side, of course. And what about Phoenix? Phoenix?
Yeah, sure. I can talk about that. So Phoenix, we're thinking of making it more so. We want to make it more generalized. Like like degen finance, like just DeFi in general, like actual DeFi with where you play with coins and all, right? Because Lilium's an NFT thing. The Phoenix will be like a token, operations with tokens and smart contracts. So for now, we have a game on Phoenix. It's called the HODL game. So we have a HODL ERG, and then we have a HODL token. So HODL ERG. So essentially, in very simple terms, the game is that it's like kind of like a bank. So you deposit, deposit ERG, right, which is the main token of the blockchain, and in return you get a token called HODL ERG. That's the name of the token. And the idea is that the price of HODL ERG always goes up relative to ERG. So initially, you can say one ERG gets you one HODL ERG. Then maybe a couple later on, if the game's given that the game's working properly, the one ERG will be worth maybe like half a HODL ERG. So the price always goes up relative to ERG. And the game really all it is that you have to hold the tokens the longest. So if you sell your HODL ERG, you can always exchange the HODL ERG token back for ERG itself always. The idea is that when you do this, there's a small fee. So you have to pay like 3% fee to the bank itself. And what this does is that the bank adjusts the price ratios, and that money you just paid, that extra 3% fee you just paid, goes into increasing that ratio. So you get more HODL or token for your, or sorry, you get less because the price increases. And what does this do? This incentivizes people to sell, right? Because they're like, oh, the price has gone up, let me get some profit. And this creates like a domino effect because the price keeps going up and people are incentivized to sell because it's already there. Like they met their goal, and them selling even snowballs even more into the price increasing. So it just perpetually increases and is guaranteed by the contract, of course, given that there's no hacks and all. But the game's been live for like 6 months, basically 6-7 months, and we haven't had an issue. So everything's working great. And we also recently, what I did was I wanted to go cross chain on another blockchain, and I released a game on that different blockchain too, and it's doing pretty well. So on that other blockchain, there's about like $120,000 locked TVL, and on ERGO there's about 180,000 TVL. All-time high on ERGO for TVL was around I think $250,000. So relative to USD, of course. So it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, it sounds cool. So, for example, if I start to play in this game right now,
Yeah.
and if we're a little bit to the moon guy, okay, I think it could be enough money for a new car, something like that.
I mean, yeah, if you can wait long enough, yes. But the idea really is that, as I mentioned, right, it's always relative to ERG. So you also have to bet personally. The real bet, the actual gambling portion of this game, really
Yeah.
is the USD value, right?
Yeah.
But it makes complete sense if you're bullish on ERG. In general, you're like, okay, I know in the next 10 years, ERG is going to go to $100. I mean, it's guaranteed, right? I mean, it's really what you think the value will be. But relative to the HODL token and ERG, that's guaranteed. That's not a gamble. It's 100% guaranteed. You just got to hold it for long enough, You just
Yeah.
got to be sure. It's good, right? Set and forget. Just promise to yourself you hold it and you should be all set.
And why Phoenix?
Luuka.
So
Again,
initially,
okay. I understand this philosophical way of thinking. Okay, Luuka, why
so
Phoenix?
initially it was the HODL coin game was developed by so the guy who came up with the idea is the same guy who wrote the JED paper. So HODL coin is like a simplified JED where like
Mhm.
basically it's like a degenerate version where the price just always goes up, and like in the paper there's a proof, an induction proof that shows why that's true. But the initial version had a hack. So the guy from Duck Pools, one of the devs at Duck Pools in Scarborough, he found the bug, and drained the bank. It was like $90,000. But he ended up giving it back. We figured out a way to give it back to everybody else. So then MGPI and I decided to like look over the contract, and we wrote a version in our own like style of writing ERGO script that's like better for testing and more clear when you're trying to read it. So it's like less prone to bugs. And yeah, so since the idea of like something dying and then being reborn again, the concept of Phoenix like made sense. So
Yeah,
that's why we call it Phoenix Finance.
it makes sense. Cool. I like the idea of the names. Really. I should ask you about that earlier. Yeah.
So that's what I like about the degen stuff on ERGO. Well, on like HODLcoin is that it's based on like research, which is kind of like hilarious. So all the assumptions are very clear. Like you know what you're getting into if you read the paper. Yeah, it's like a safe degen, I guess.
They call all the codes open source.
Yeah,
Everything's
the contracts are all
available
open source.
publicly. Everything, even the front end and the
Yeah,
back
and
end, everything.
Yeah.
We have a KYA as well, the know your assumptions. That's like pretty common in ERGO to include. So
Yeah. Is it difficult to work at the different projects at the same time? Because time is limited and how it is.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, for both of us, it's honestly difficult, because we have a job. We work for Zengate, and we do all their back end work, and then I have school as well. I'm a full-time student. I have to deal with that. Then on top of that, we both have like side projects that we work on around the community. So yeah, time is very limited for us.
Yeah.
I mean, Luuka is the same. He works. I work part time, but of course I can't do full time. But Luuka does full time Zengate. Then on top of that, he also contributes on the side projects we work on together.
Yeah. I saw you every time in chats, and you contribute a lot to ERGO and other projects, and to make reviews for other projects. And it's like, okay, when these guys are sleeping, I don't know.
We don't.
Of course.
What's sleeping?
Are you living on coffee? We are ERGO peeps, ergonauts, and we are living on coffee.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes.
I don't do much else, honestly.
What I do? What is your secret? Not coffee?
Just I don't do anything else.
Like
So if you
sleeping
imagine
and
all-
coding?
Sleeping's too boring for him.
No,
It's sleeping and
Basically-
coding. Like,
well, sometimes I'm not as productive as I wish, but yeah, I don't pretty much like on my free time. I just either I'm learning something new, like a new language or like some new topic that I want to learn, or I'm just doing ERGO stuff. But there's so much cool. Yeah, there's just so much cool stuff to do on ERGO because it's all like research based, and so it's like you're just learning a lot at the same time. It's really great.
yeah.
That's what I like. Like I liked about blockchain in my regular, like in real life stuff. I like if I wanted to do like research, like scientific research, I'd have to like apply to like, and then like pray that I get the grant or like the research award, or that the professor will like reply to my emails. But on ERGO, like you can just do builds, make something, like learn on your own. No one's like gonna get in your way or like say no, like, and like, yeah, you can just do whatever you want, and there's no one to tell you like what to do or like how to do it or to stop you. You just make something, and hopefully someone likes it and uses it. But yeah, so that's what I like. It's like a lot of freedom.
In the digital realm where dreams take flight, there's a coin that shines with a brilliant light. ERGO's ERGO's the name, it's a crypto star, built for the future, taking us far.